Chapter 41. By the time the fireworks were over, Matt had convinced Alex to skip both the dances and let him take her home to finish their celebration. He talked her into giving him the keys so he could drive back to her place. When they loaded up, Alex sat in the middle next to him. But it was more torture than reward. Once they hit the highway on the edge of town and left the traffic behind, Alex got naughty. She blew in his ear, ran her hand up his leg and left it sitting dangerously close to his dick. She leaned close, rubbing her breasts back and forth over his arm. "You're doing this on purpose, aren't you?" "Doing what?" She had that tone that he'd come to recognize as her fake innocent voice. "You know exactly what, but that's okay. Once we get home, I'll get my revenge." "Oh," she purred. "Is someone gonna play rough tonight?" "Do you want rough?" "I don't know." She scraped her fingernails up his arm. "Rough can be so much fun." He knew right then and there that they'd be up most of the night, not that he minded. He knew just how to handle this side of her. He pulled into the yard and stopped with a slight jerk. Not wanting to waste time, he opened his door and slid out, then turned and pulled her across the seat to him. With her sitting on the seat, he didn't have to lower his mouth to hers as he kissed her, hard and hot. Her hand slid up his chest and over his shoulders to wrap around his neck. He cupped one breast, squeezed and used his other hand to pull her body against his. When he finally pulled away, they were both breathing heavy. "Inside now," he growled. She moved quickly and he stalked after her. It reminded him of chasing prey, the way she moved ahead of him while he moved more carefully, more quietly. Inside the front door he caught her, grabbed her, and pinned her body against the back of the door. Another desperate kiss. He fumbled with the buttons on her blouse while his tongue battled with hers. At last the final button gave way and he could run his hands along her skin. Not just the most tempting parts, the full globes pressing against his chest, but all of it. He wanted to touch her everywhere. But taking her here, no matter how tempting, wasn't what he had in mind tonight. He pulled away again. "Upstairs. Undressed and on the bed by the time I get up there. You've got 2 minutes, maybe less." He smacked her ass as she moved past him and raced up the stairway. This was going to be fun. He went in the kitchen to get something, then followed her up to the bedroom. Stopping in the doorway, the first thing Matt saw was that Alex hadn't obeyed him. She'd gotten undressed. Mostly. But she was still standing at the foot of the bed, obviously waiting for him. Challenging him. Even better. Setting the glass of water he'd gotten in the kitchen aside, he advanced on her. "You didn't listen to me." "Oh, I listened. I just chose not to obey." "That's gonna cost you, you know." "Says you." She stood defiant in her black lace bra and panties. Reaching out, he wrapped one arm around her and pulled her close again. He lowered his mouth to hers once more, but not in the same kind of kiss. He licked and teased her mouth, biting gently at her lips. Distracting her enough that he wrapped his hands around her wrists. Guiding them both to her lower back, he held them easily one hand, then pulled away from the kiss. "Says you before the night is over." He used the arms he held together behind her back to steer her, bending her face down over the foot of the bed. "We have several things to address this evening, don't we?" He smoothed his free hand over her panties and the cheek of her ass. "If you say so." She lay calm. Her face turned to one side, no fight in her at all. "First you said you want to play rough, I can do that." He leaned to one side so she could see his face. "If at any time you decide it's too much, just say stop. That's all it will take to end it. Understand?" "Got it." He smoothed his hand over her ass again. "All right, so for your punishment. You tormented me all day by refusing to tell me what we were doing." He gave her ass a light smack. She squirmed but didn't make a sound. He smacked her again, a little harder. I think you need 3 swats for that. He dealt the last swat, still a little harder. Still not a squeak out of her. Rubbing his